There have been times when I bought cucumbers intending to use them over several days. But after just 1 or 2 days of being left forgotten in the corner of the refrigerator, they started to soften, their skins wrinkled, and they completely lost their usual crispness and coolness. This made me feel both regretful and realize that preserving this seemingly simple fruit is not as easy as I thought. But after many trials and errors, I realized that with just a few simple and almost inexpensive tips, you can keep cucumbers fresh for longer, maintaining their crispness and green color, even for a week or more if done correctly. I will share the methods I have tried, from the simplest to the slightly more sophisticated, so you can choose the method that suits your habits, saving money and reducing food waste. When choosing cucumbers, I always prioritize those that are fresh, firm to the touch, have taut skin, and are free from bruises or dark spots, because initial freshness greatly determines how long they can be stored afterward. After buying them, I don't wash them immediately with water, but only gently wipe off the dirt with a dry paper towel. Because if the melons still have water on them and are stored right away, they will easily become soggy and spoil faster. Where are you from? Please comment below and let me know which country you're from. I love reading your comments. Each time I read them, I see my videos being watched in so many different places. It's really exciting. Now let's begin. Method 1. Preserve cucumbers in Ziploc bags. First, I placed a layer of paper towels at the bottom of the Ziploc bag, then gently arranged each melon inside, being careful not to squeeze or stack them too much to avoid bruising them. The reason I always line the inside of Ziploc bags with paper towels is because cucumbers still breathe and release a certain amount of moisture during storage. Without this layer of paper towels to absorb the moisture would accumulate inside the bag, creating a humid, enclosed environment that makes the cucumbers very susceptible to sogginess, softness, and spoilage. After arranging the melons, I covered them with a layer of paper towels before zipping up the bag, but not completely sealing it. I left a small gap to insert a straw, slowly sucking out the air until the bag tightly encased the melons. Then, I quickly removed the straw and sealed the bag. Removing the air from the bag is a step I find quite important because when the amount of air inside decreases, especially the amount of oxygen, the oxidation process and bacterial activities slow down, which helps the cucumbers stay fresh longer. Finally, I placed the bag in the refrigerator's cooling compartment, not too close to the wall. With this method, cucumbers can typically be stored for about 7 to 10 days. And if the refrigerator temperature is stable and the cucumbers were initially very fresh, they can sometimes be kept for a little longer, about 10 to 12 days. What I noticed after a few applications is that for the first 3 to 5 days, when the bag is opened, the melons almost retain their crispness and juiciness as when they were first bought. From the 7th day onwards, the melons may start to lose some of their crispness slightly, but they won't become soft or spoiled if the environment inside the bag remains dry. Second method, preserve cucumbers using paper towels and plastic wrap. After the melons were dried and cleaned, I wrapped each one tightly in a paper towel. wrapping it just enough so that the towel gently hugged the melon's body without squeezing it too tightly. The reason I use paper towels is that cucumbers will still release a certain amount of moisture during storage. Without this moisture-absorbing layer, water would condense on the surface, eventually causing the cucumbers to become soggy and soft. The paper towels act as a moisture regulator, absorbing excess water while keeping the cucumbers from becoming too dry. Next, I wrapped another layer of plastic wrap around the paper towel, ensuring the entire melon was completely sealed to minimize direct air contact. This outer layer of plastic wrap helps retain the melon's natural moisture, preventing water evaporation and reducing exposure to air and bacteria, thus slowing down the wilting process and preventing the melon from deteriorating in quality. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Your support is what motivates me to continue sharing even more helpful tips. Finally, I place the melons in the refrigerator's crisper drawer, avoiding placing them against the sides because that area is usually colder and can cause the melons to dehydrate quickly. With this method, cucumbers can usually stay fresh and crisp for about 5 to 7 days. And if the cucumbers are very fresh initially and the refrigerator temperature is stable, it can last up to about 7 to 9 days. However, for the best taste, I still prefer to use them within the first week, as at that time the cucumbers still retain almost all of their original crispness and freshness. Third method, preserving cucumbers using stainless steel spoons. With this method, after wiping the melons clean, I line the bottom of the box with a layer of paper towels, then gently arrange each melon on top, avoiding pressing them down so they don't get bruised. The layer of paper towels is very important because cucumbers will still release moisture during storage. Without this moisture-absorbing layer, water will accumulate in the container, eventually causing the cucumbers to become soggy, soft, and spoil quickly. After arranging the cucumbers, I placed a clean stainless steel spoon inside the box, then covered them with a layer of paper towel before closing the lid and putting it in the refrigerator. The stainless steel spoon in this method helps regulate the internal environment because metal has good thermal conductivity, reducing temperature differences inside the container when the refrigerator door is opened and closed, thereby limiting condensation. In addition, stainless steel is an inert material, does not retain odors, and does not affect food, making it quite safe to place in the storage container. With this method, cucumbers can usually stay fresh for about 5 to 7 days. And if the cucumbers are very fresh initially, the paper towels are replaced as needed and the refrigerator temperature is stable, the time can be extended to about 7 to 8 days. However, for the best taste, I usually use them within a week to ensure that their crispness and natural freshness are fully preserved. Method 4. Preserving cucumbers with cooking oil. With this method, after cleaning the melon, I prepare a bowl of cooking oil, then use a paper towel to soak up a very small amount of oil and gently wipe a thin layer over the entire surface of the melon rind. Just enough to create a slight shine, not too much. The layer of cooking oil I wipe on the cucumber peel actually forms a very thin film, which helps to limit the loss of moisture from the inside of the fruit, while also reducing direct contact with air and bacteria, thereby slowing down the wilting, softening, and deterioration of the cucumber's quality. Next, I line the bottom of the box with a layer of paper towels. Then gently arrange the cucumbers inside, being careful not to scratch the outer layer of oil. Once the cucumbers were arranged, I closed the lid tightly and placed it in the refrigerator, not too close to the sides. With this method, cucumbers can usually stay fresh and crisp for about 8 to 10 days. Before using them, I just need to rinse them with warm water or diluted salt water to remove the oily outer layer. So I've introduced you to 4 methods for preserving cucumbers. Which method do you like best? If you know any better tips, don't hesitate to share them so everyone can learn. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any more useful tips. Thank you for watching until the end. See you in the next videos.